Hello beautiful people, you're welcome to my channel. I'm Gift Girls Time by name. If this is your first time stopping by, and to all my returning subscribers, thank you for your support. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to achieve this wide leg palazzo trouser. Stay tuned. I'll be making use of 2.5 yards of this silk fabric and elastic. It's a 2 inches wide elastic. I'll be using not up to 1 yard. So I'll be drafting the front pattern. So I'll go ahead to draw out my starting line. Next, I'm going to be starting all my measurements from that starting line 2 inches away. That 2 inches represents the band that I'll be adding later on. The elastic I'm using is 2 inches wide, so that is why I'm taking off 2 inches. So that will be my waist region, that starting line. Next, I'm taking my waist to hip, which is 9 inches. Then my crotch length, which will be 11 inches. So to take your crotch length, just as the picture shows, you sit in a chair and measure from your waist to where your butt lay on the chair. Next, I'm going to be taking the full length of the trouser. I'll be using 41 inches. That is my full length. So now I'm going to be drawing a horizontal line across all these lines I have marked. After that, I'll go ahead to label them. This is my waist region, my hip, and my crotch. Then the down part is my full length. Now from this waist region, I'm going to go inward by 1 inch and connect it to the hip. This is to give it a bit fitting. You know, it's a palazzo, so, and it's a female, so just to create that fitting, I'm going to be cutting it off. So I'll be starting all my measurements from that point. So firstly, I'm going to take my hip measurement. Because I'm using elastic, I'm not going to be using my waist. I'll be using my hip measurement. So I'll take my hip divided by 4. That is what I got. The figure, the value I got, I placed it there. Then I added ½ inch, as you can see. So my hip measurement divided by 4. So I'm taking that same figure I got from the waist region. I'm extending those lines to my hip and my crotch. I'm extending it. You don't remeasure because you know we already took 1 inch inward from the hip, so you just connect a straight row. Now after that, I'm going to measure from the crotch line. The whole measurement I got, you know, it will increase. So after measuring that, I'm going to divide it by 2 and divide it again. This is to get my crotch depth. Or you can take your crotch measurement, that is your hip measurement, divide by 16. But this works perfectly for me. Taking the measurement you got for your crotch, divide by 2, then divide it again. So whatever you get, you impute it there. So I'm going to be creating the curve. So from that point, I went above by 1 inch, and then I'm going to connect the line. This is how to get your crotch curve, as you can see from the video. So next, I'm going to curve it. I went inward by ½ inch. This is just to give it a perfect shape so it doesn't gape. Now I'm going to measure my full length I have now at the crotch region, and I'm going to divide it by 2 to get the midpoint. So that's what I did. The whole full length now I have for my new crotch. I'm going to take it and divide by 2. Then I'm going to extend that line till I get to the full length of this trouser. This is the front part of the trouser. So that's what I'm doing. I'm extending the line equally so that you have equal measurement for both the two sides. That's the main purpose of dividing it, to get that margin line so that it's equally spread. Next, I'm going to take my knee length. I didn't impute it earlier on, so that's what I'm imputing. So I'm going to draw a horizontal line across the same way I did for the rest. So next, I'm going to measure what the value I have from one point to the midpoint at that part. and then I'm going to extend it to the knee and also to the hem of the trouser. So it helps you, this center line guides you to spread your figure equally. Next, what I'll be doing, I'm going to give this my pattern a perfect shape, because I'm still going to open it at the midpoint for that palazzo effect. So at that knee region, I'm going to mark 1 inch inward and then connect it to my crotch line, as you can see. Now from my crotch to my hip, see there's a spacing, so I'm just going to curve it in so that it has a perfect shape. Now I'm going to measure now the new length for the nail, and I'm going to extend it to this other part so that it's equal. So that's why I say this center line is important, so that your spacings are equal. So when you sew, you don't have one seam coming to the front, it's equally aligned. So I'm still going to maintain that same value at the hem region, because I'm spreading this pattern is a palazzo, so I don't need the hem to be that wide. So that's why I'm still using that same value. So after that, I'm going to connect it from the crotch to the hem with all my marked points. So that is what I'm doing here. From the knee region, I'm going to connect it to the hem. So after that, I'm going to mark out all these points that I don't need. I'm going to be cutting it off. Next, to give your waist a perfect shape, because your waist is not straight, I'm going to go down by ½ inch and then connect it to the upper parts, as you can see. This is just to give it a perfect shape. Your waist is not straight, it's a bit curved. So after doing that, I'm going to cut out these parts that I do not need. Next, what I'll be doing, I'll be labeling it. This is the front pattern, because I'm going to be using it to cut out the back. So I'm going to bring another fresh pattern paper, and I will be placing the front on top of the pattern paper. Now this pattern paper has to be longer than the front because of the different inches we'll be taking above. So as you can see, I left space at the top before placing my front. So now from that crotch region, I'm going to go inward by 2 inches, and then I'm also going to go above it by 2 inches. That's why I said you don't place your front pattern on the fresh pattern at the top, you leave a space. So next, that 2 inch we went inward, I'm going to bring it right here. I'm going to extend it so that there will not be shortage. So I'm going to extend it, as you can see. Now, depending on how your body size is, 1½ inch can work perfectly for you if you're on a smaller size, if your butt is smaller. So now from the crotch region, because this is the back pattern and the crotch is different, I'm going to extend it by 2 inches as well. Now this, I'm just relabeling it, that's the nail part. So next, I'm going to, that 2 inches above I took, I'm going to curve the back crotch. So I'm just going to follow that front on and then open up the front pattern and then connect the line, because the back crotch is much bigger than that of the front. That is the 2 inches extra we gave in front. So now from that 2 inches, I'm going to connect it to the knee line. This is the back pattern we are drafting. It's easy, you just follow the front pattern and just give some different inches. So now from that 2 inches extension we gave, I connect it to that upper part. So what I'm doing here, I'm giving the hip region a shape. I went inward by 1 inch and I'm connecting it to the waist region. Then from the crotch line, I don't need that much, I just need ½ inch. So I'm just going to blend it to the knee region and then just curve that part with my curve just to align it. I don't need that much. So this is how it looks like. So I'm going to extend it that same desired length I have for the knee. I'm going to extend it all the way to the back. You can make yours bigger from that nail. you can decide to, but I don't want. I'm just going to follow the same front pattern. After that, I'm going to cut it off. So this is the back pattern. This is how it looks like. So I'm going to replace it back again for you to see that is equal. The difference is the crotch, the waist region, and the hip side. Those are the difference you have from that of the back. As you can see, the hem, the both of them align properly. So I'm just going to mark that center part, the midpoint. So because I'm going to extend it for my back, because I'll be slashing it open for this palazzo. I'm still going to bring my front pattern to indicate where the knee region is. This is just to guide me on how to, spread it properly. So I'm going to take the midpoint and then extend the line to my knee region and also extend it to the upper part. So that is what I'm doing here. So the first part I'm doing from the hem to the knee region, I'm going to spread it equally. This is the back pattern. I'm just labeling it. Now from that rule, I'm just going to take my ruler to extend it to the hip region. To the waist region. So it must not be equal. You just have to follow that line because it's the straight line. So this is the back pattern. Now I'll be slashing this back pattern open. I'm not going to slash it completely. Once I just half inch above the pattern so that it's still, the waist is still intact. Next, I'm going to take my fabric and then fold it into two. So I cut the both sides of the back. I'm going to take my pattern, like as you can see, and spread it open. So the waist region is still half inch. I didn't cut it fully, so it's still together at the waist region. Now, depending on how wide you want or how much fabric you have, I'll be using 7 inches for my spreading. So you spread it at the hem parts. As you can see, I'm just taking my tape to measure one point to the other. I'm using 7 inches. You can use as much as 10, depending on how wide you want your pants to be, how wide you want the palazzo to be. After that, I'm going to be taking 1 inch at both sides. This is for my seam. That is what I'll be using to sew. This is my, then next for the hem part, I'm going to be using 3 inches. Palazzo is usually beautiful when it's all the way down and it's folded in. You fold it in to get that good finishing. You fold it in, so that's what I'm adding, that extra 3 inches. So this is the 1 inch for my sewing allowance at the sides. That is what I have around there. Now for this other part, the hem is 3 inches. Then next, this other part is also 1 inch for the seam. While for the crotch region is half inch, you don't need 1 inch, half inch. Then for the waist is also half inch, you don't need 1 inch. So those are the two parts that are half inch, the crotch line and the waist region. So after that, I'm going to cut it off. So I have my back piece. There are 2 of it. So next I'll proceed to cut out my front piece. But before that, I'm going to show you the cutting of the pockets, because the front piece have pockets. So this is the front piece. Now I'm going to be taking 2 inch inward, and then the length is 7 inches. So that's like the basic for pockets. So after that, I'm going to connect the line. As you can see, I'm going to cut this off, and I'll keep this small piece because you need it. So after that, I'm just going to keep this aside first. Then I'm going to extend this line. This is my midline, because I'll be slashing the front piece as well open so I can cut it on my fabric. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm slashing it open the same way I did for the back. So I've folded my fabric into 2 as well, because I'll be cutting 2 of it for the front. So the same way I extended up to 7 inches at the hem, that is what I did for the front, and then mark my 1 inch for seam. Now for the creation of the pockets, I'm going to take a pattern paper, which will be 12 inches in length, and then 7 inches when folded. So this is 7 inches when folded, so by the time you open it, it's 14 inches, but 12 inches in length. I'm just marking it the 7 inches so that I can cut it out, and the 12 inches. So I'll just use my ruler to draw the two lines, and then I'll cut it off. So now I'm going to shape the pocket. I'll be bringing the front pattern, as you can see. Now this is the front pattern. This is our pocket. The pocket is inside, so the folded parts will be inside while the open parts will be outside, as you can see. So I have placed it, so it must align with the seam at the edge, as you can see. Now this other part is way big, so I'm going to cut it off according to the pattern, as you can see. Next, that smaller piece I told you to keep aside, so this is where your hands are going to be. That smaller part I told you to keep aside, I'm going to bring it up so that it must align to the shape of the trouser, because this pocket now is bigger than the measurement we created. So that's why I say do not throw off that smaller piece. So I'm going to place it at this other part, and then I'm going to give it the right shape, because this is what we cut off from the trouser. So we're going to maintain the shape we had initially. So just use your pin to pin it to secure it down, and then cut it off. So this is the pocket we'll be working with. I'll go ahead to cut it on my fabric. So this is it, and these are the inches I gave. I gave ½ inch at the hem, ½ inch at the sides, ½ inch at the upper part. Then the sides that will be joined together, this is 1 inch. I give 1 inch for that. So next, what I'll be doing, I'll be aligning my pocket to my front part. Now you take your front piece, that part that you align together that you cut, that is the sides. You are working with the sides, so front side facing right side facing right side, not the crotch region. You don't have pocket at the crotch region, so you are going to follow it and sew all the way. So that's what I did with ½ inch that I gave for the seam. So after sewing it, this is how it looks like. Now you are going to double stitch it at the lining, at the pockets part. So yeah, after sewing it, this is what you get. You're going to take the wrong side and then sew another stitch laying on the pocket itself, not on the trouser, on the pocket. So I've gone ahead to do the stitch, and this is how it looks like. On the right side, this is how it is. So next, what we'll be doing will be folding our pockets to align properly. So you're just going to take the pocket, and then this is the pocket, this is the bigger picture. So you're just going to fold it into two so that the sides will join together, and then it will align with the trouser as well. The video explains it much better. So this is how your pocket will be in front. This is how it will be. So what you're going to do, you're going to sew the seam and then sew the upper part, that is the waist region. Next, you're going to measure that part. You know, we gave 2 inches, so you will measure 2.5, because ½ inch is for the sewing to the back part, the seam allowance. So we're going to sew the upper part. So this is it. After sewing, I'll secure it at the upper part, and I use my pin to secure the sides. So you can go ahead to sew the hem parts of the pocket. You can sew it straight, or you can decide to give it a shape like a curve, whatever you want, whatever you desire. This is just okay for me, making it straight. So after that, you just sew the side and it's secured already. So this is our front part, pants or trouser, and attached with pockets. So what I'll be doing now, I'm going to attach it to the back. So I'll be aligning the crotch together at the sides. I'm going to sew it with the 1-inch allowance I gave. So I'm going to align it, as you can see from the video. I'm going to sew with 1 inch. Then at the side as well, I'm going to sew with 1/2 inch all the way, because it's 1/2 inch I gave, all the way to the pocket region. After that, I'm going to use 1 inch because I gave 1 inch all the way to the hem parts. So that's what I'll be doing. So this is it. I've sewn one part of the trouser. So next I'll be ironing it to give it that ghetto line in front and behind. So you have to sew one part. So that's how to get that ghetto line. So now you are going to open it. This is the wrong side, so I'm just going to open the allowances and I'm going to press iron it. So I'll open the allowances, flip it over to the other side, also iron the allowance as well, so it will be open. After doing this, I'm going to flip it back to the right part. So now the allowances are open on the inside, so I'm just going to align these allowances that have opened on the inside. I'm going to make sure that they are aligned before ironing. So once I get it, they are aligned together, I'm going to iron now. So now to form that ghetto line, when you are ironing, this is how you place your pants. Now this part that the arrows are, that is where the ghetto line will be. So make sure you iron it very well. That is the sides after aligning the allowance together. So make sure it's aligned properly. So as you can see, this is the ghetto line. So this is one leg of the trouser. So this is the ghetto line in front, and this is the pockets that we've attached. So I'm going to flip it over to show you the ghetto line behind. So it's going to form naturally on its own, both the front and that of the back, by the time you iron it this way, and it's going to last for very long. So next I'm going to do the other pants as well. After that, I'm going to join them together at the crotch region. So I'm just going to make sure that the crotch align together, and I'll be merging it, and I will sew it with 1/2 inch because it's 1/2 inch I gave for the crotch region. So this is a closer view of me joining the two crotch together, and then I'll make sure that it gets to the waist and then join it. So next, after joining it, this is how it looks like. Now to attach our elastic, because this waist is bigger than our waist because we use our hip measurements. So I'm going to measure what I have all through. I'm going to arrive at my hip figure, which is 41 inches. That's what I have. So after getting that value, what I'll do, I'll take a long strip. Now this long strip is 42 inches and is 5 inches wide, because by the time we fold it into two, now our elastic is 2 inches wide. So when we fold this 5 inches into two, is 2.5. Then we're using 1/2 inch to sew. So what I'll be doing, I'll be taking this long strip, as you can see, and I will join them at the edge together. That's why I said I added extra 1 inch, so because I'll be sewing it together. So after sewing it together, I'll do same to the elastic. I will join it. Now the elastic is my waist measurement. I minus subtract 6 from my waist measurement. That is the elastic. I subtract 6 inches from my waist measurement. My waist is 33, so I subtract 6. So now this is the fabric. I'm going to now merge it into I'm going to merge the elastic into the fabric. So as I'm sewing, because the elastic is shorter, is not up to that length, so you're going to be stretching your elastic as you are sewing. You're going to be stretching it, so at the end this is what you will have. Next, after getting this, you are going to now attach this to the trouser. So you're just going to make sure that it's aligned. You can mark every point. You can divide this trouser, the band into 4, so that you're able to align them on the different sides, the center and the back. So you're just going to stretch it till you get to the end. So after doing that, this is how the trouser looks like. So now this is the elastic. We're going to be sewing on this elastic just to get that effect that elastic. So you're going to be using a loose stitch, and then you will mark 1/2 inch from the top part. You will sew round the elastic. You also mark another 1/2 inch again from that point, and you sew round it. You make a loose stitch, not a tight stitch. So at the end, this is what you will get. This is how your trouser is. After that, the hem part, you're going to be folding it with the allowance we gave earlier, and I'll be using my hemming gum to give it a perfect finishing. So I've come to the end of this tutorial. If you find this tutorial helpful, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I did pair this trouser with the boo top I made earlier, and I've uploaded it on my channel. See you in my next tutorial. Bye.